my name is Rajeev Singh, and I'm the Group Senior Vice President with NTT, responsible for applications, global applications, go-to-market. Now that's a change in role, but that's what I'm responsible for.
What are the most common challenges you face in building AI-ready tool chains for enterprise clients?
I'm looking for us to, tackle the ever-increasing technology debt market that exists out there, which I think is close to about $1.5 trillion. And that's a big market for us. With the advent of Gen AI and agentic AI, obviously there is a lot of acceleration in how we can approach this market. And from an enterprise customer point of view, the biggest challenge that we face, is when you want to modernize your legacy environment, at the core is you need to know what your current environment is, unless you decide to completely neglect it and do a top-down design, right? Most companies, they land somewhere in the middle, so you need to know your current state that you have, your design details which are there, right? Your requirement, what that application is catering to at a deep level. And the other challenge is the data. If you want to apply AI, the data behind AI has to be good, otherwise AI really doesn't function. So I think these are some of the critical challenge. One more challenge I will add is that if you want to bring in Gen AI asset into our enterprise clients, there is still a process that you have to go through with these, with their security organizations. But that's part of the process. Is starting to get better. But I would say these are some of the areas that we deal with.
Understand. So how are you and NTT DATA helping clients transition from legacy processes to AI-enabled software delivery workflow?
Our philosophy is that we want to help our customers go through that journey. These journeys are complicated in nature. So we try to partner with our customers at different level. Some of our customers want us to come in and do a complete thorough investigation of their current state, which is more like an advisory relationship, which then forms into a different sort of a pathway. Because a lot of these legacy tech debt reduction, if I can use that verbiage, does not just mean that you just rip out a system. It could also mean consolidation of a landscape, rationalization of a landscape, or injecting completely new different environment. So I think the advisory component is always the first component that we lead in over here. And then, we try to aid the process of execution through some standard Gen AI approaches that we have made a play. Most of these plays happen around, mainframe states or AS400, or, it could be old .NET Java environment. And we've worked with some of our partners as well as our ecosystem to build asset-based approach, which uses Gen AI as the philosophy behind it. And then we have sort of accelerated a lot of those activities, right? But that it always starts with advising.
Understood. From the big hyperscalers, we hear about the 5 Rs or the 6 Rs. I understand that NTT DATA has something called Reimagining as one of their Rs. Can you give us a bit of information about that?
Well, few years back, it was obviously lift and shift into the hyperscaler environment. That was the big thing. But we all know lift and shift has a limit to it. If you want to really take the benefit of cloud environment, you have to be able to have architectures which are cloud native. If you don't do that, you have an impact somewhere else. Obviously, we've got FinOps and other component which comes in. But if you really want to take benefit of the entire hyperscaler suite, you have to be native to them, right? Reimagining, actually, the way I look at reimagining is that you could become cloud native even without reimagining completely. But reimagining is if you are doing a legacy modernization and you have the opportunity, your customer base might have changed, you might have a different product focus right now. You want to look at the entire estate with a different lens. You could apply a different customer persona sort of a methodology to look at it. Your value streams might have changed. So reimagine for us means having the ability to take the old state information and be able to decompose it in such a way that you can apply a different lens at it and sort of, completely reimagine this state, right? That's what we mean by reimagine.
I'm still there. How do you see Crowdbotics fitting into NTT's modernization and AI delivery process?
So I got to know Crowdbotics personally. Obviously, it's been close to 2 years now. I would think probably no, maybe 16 months. And I have to credit NTT Venture Capital for that because they brought us close with Crowdbotics. I was very skeptical at that point of time because the concepts we were talking looked good, but the output had to be worked on. We are talking here about reimagining a particular state out over there, which means you have to decode what exists today. You need to sort of create a knowledge map. But I partnered with Crowdbotics on a pretty large legacy environment, a COBOL legacy environment, on which NTT has a lot of stake in because we run TPA business of that platform. We threw it as a challenge to Crowdbotics because we wanted Crowdbotics to work with us, and we are talking, more than 10 million lines of code. So it's not a small application. And then I think that partnership has blossomed because we've had success over there. And so Crowdbotics is now part of our arsenal that we go out in the market. We've sort of taken Crowdbotics and layered a lot of other augmented AI systems around it. And we go to the market for all such reimagined efforts that or opportunities that are out there.
So where would Crowdbotics code to spec approach provide the most value in legacy understanding, documentation, system transformation? Otherwise, where have you seen it within?
Well, I think Crowdbotics has got multiple use cases, if I can use the word. From my perspective, one of them is obviously, let's say, like I said, if you have a legacy environment, we can use Crowdbotics very quickly to sort of, build a knowledge map of the application, a knowledge map which is queryable, a knowledge map which can lead to a requirement output, which can give us the spec if we want. That's one of the ways we can do it. So when you say code to spec, we can go that way because you've taken the old code, you've sort of created a new spec. Now you can play with the spec, you can change it, you can do whatever you want. If you want to just keep the same spec and move on, you can do that too. You can apply some other AI acceleration on that, and you can go and design a new system completely, right? The other use case that we have experimented and is pretty good in our businesses, we do a large managed services business, which means we go into some ecosystem and we pick up the state and we transition it. And one of the things we have seen is that Crowdbotics can help us accelerate those processes. So I think that's another use case that we look. We look at this.
Rajeev, with so many tools in the AI tools emerging, how does NTT determine which is strategic, which are tactical, which is just hype? How do you define your portfolio?
Well, the strategic part comes from the part of what I am focused on in the market. For us, there are a few plays which are very important. We are the second largest application player, managed services player by revenue globally. So for us, managed services is a big play. Anything we can do to help our customers get the benefit of AI acceleration, because ultimately they get the benefit of productivity, that's a big play for us. So, Crowdbotics and other similar partners that we have in our ecosystem, as well as our in-house capability, is geared towards that. We've got a complete AI ops platform, which is our homegrown. We sort of bring Crowdbotics also into it, right? So that's one play for us. The second major focus is tech debt, as we talked about. Now, tech debt, I choose the word tech modernization or tech debt because most people think it's mainframe. It's not just that. It's the largest state that we go after, right? So that's another play, huge play for us, right? These are two major plays. The third play that we have is what we call as business outcome services, which is essentially because our group also does BPO services. And between the transaction BPO as well as knowledge BPO and other BPO as well as application tech, we have started gearing towards outcome-based services to our customer, whether it is impacting health insurance or life insurance or other sectors that we are focused on. We have AI accelerations built in there. So I think these are three top plays that I'm telling you, but there are other plays as well. And as you can see, AI plays a big role in all of these.
Absolutely. Couldn't be more correct that it's not just mainframes and COBOL. Can you tell me a little bit more about strategic risks, such as the cost of standing still? What are the negative consequences, technical, operational, competitive, of delaying modernizations, and any cautionary tales that you would like to be able to share?
I think the major risk comes from the fact that the life cycle of any product or any output has shrunk, right? I mean, today the pace is very, very high, and for you to be able to react to that, your entire value stream has to move faster, which means having legacy applications where most of that is coding versus straight configuration, or the integrations are native in nature, does not allow one to operate seamlessly as the value stream would like to move, right? And I think we can talk about many risks, but that's the most important risk, because it won't allow you to react quickly. It won't allow you to be proactive, because there is going to be a lot of constraint, and the management of the constraint is going to throw one off. And I think that's the biggest risk. I mean, I can go narrate other risks, but that is the most important thing that we are trying to tackle here.
So, talking to our peers, what types of changes in mindset do they have to adopt and embrace within their organizations when they are modernizing their legacy estates?
Well, I think the most important change that they have to do in their mindset is that this is not a cost play. That if they think that this is a quick play that can be done because they can get a cost benefit, I think that is a wrong approach. I think the play is that truly we want to make it a agile environment, a environment which is geared towards what they want to see as part of their new value chains, right? And they work from there, and that's how you get the most benefit. And I understand that there are certain legacy applications that you want to do a refactor quickly, and we can help, because that's also part of our arsenal. But I think the opportunity here for teams are to look at it from a different point of view. So that's my single most important recommendation.
How do you see the role of NTT Data and other peer GSI organizations evolve as AI reshapes how software is built, maintained, and understood?
I think we have a thought process going on that obviously, as we talked about all these plays, the other plays is that we are going to be becoming bigger on business outcomes. So there are some new offerings that we are going out in the market where we are targeting outcome-based offerings. Like I talked about in health insurance and insurance. They are not just technology layer, they are tech-infused service. They are services that we want to offer as a software. So I think we are looking in that direction as we go forward. And AI is going to make it easy. I mean, today there are a lot of functions you can do with AI, which is pretty quick. The question is it deterministic? Because you're working on a non-deterministic system, and so techniques are evolving, protocols are evolving, and we are actually geared in that direction. So I think that's going to be a big change which is coming, and that we are getting ready for that.
Rajeev, I understand NTT Data is more than just a GSI. Can you tell us a little bit about what NTT Data does?
So, interesting question. We were talking about technology debt, and technology debt is full stack. Let me just tell you, NTT Data, we think we are the world's only full stack player. Why do I say that? We are the second largest app managed services player. We are the third largest data center provider. We probably run about 45% of internet backbone. We are one of the leading network players. I can go on and on. you look at our entire breadth of capability. We do complete workflows, top to soup to nuts, from advisory down to the entire application stack which runs on that. We have relationships with all hyperscalers. So there is not a single white space that you will find in our portfolio. That's the breadth of entity that you're talking about. So when we talk about technology debt, and I focused mostly on the application layer, but technology debt can be across. And I think, we have the full breadth of capability to attack this market, right? So in a sense, we are much larger than a typical GSI.